I spent nearly 150 days building up this island, but with the goal of transforming the entire thing, there's still a lot of progress that needs to be made. In this video, I'm going to be covering a portion of the island with a giant cliff with a skull carved right into it, while also knocking out one of those necessary early game farms. To get myself started in this video, I'm picking up where I left off last episode, and I'm adding those newly acquired enchanted books onto my tools. This build today will require thousands of blocks, and I'm going to need to prepare myself for the material gathering process, which takes me right into the nether to gather up XP from nether quartz, which happens to be the most efficient method for me to actually get XP. After adding mending to both a silk touch pickaxe and a fortune pickaxe, it allowed me to fully repair them both. And with the extra XP I got, I added even more enchants to the rest of my tools. So now I'm feeling very comfortable with all of my tools mended up, and I'm gonna name the chicken Blackbeak. That was like a name submission I got from a live stream. I don't even remember who said it, but you got Blackbeak here. Also, there's a zombie in here. I've come up with a very creative name for this guy. But right now, my focus is going to be on breeding up some more villagers to get the iron farm fully stocked up. I'm going to need to close this off once again and get these guys out of these minecarts. I also had comments telling me that the reason they weren't breeding last episode is because this space was not 3 blocks, so I'm going to give them a little bit more space. Of course, this would not be possible without putting down some beds first, and I'm hoping I get, again, at least 3 more villagers, as I'm going to need all 3 of them to start up the iron farm. I also have something very important to do right now, as I am going to need to grab a diamond and get a jukebox. I'll put it right here. Okay, last episode I built up this villager trading ship, and I wanted to do a mini project to connect the dock to the ship itself. Luckily, I had some spruce from last episode to continue the dock without collecting any materials, which mostly consisted of spruce slabs and trapdoors. I'm partially lying though, because with the dock I also needed some oak wood, so I went to the other island and collected some. With enough spruce wood and the collected oak wood, I started extending the existing dock to where I built up the trade ship from last episode, which of course after a few blocks placed, gave me access to actually get into the boat, as beforehand I didn't really have any way of actually getting in. This might look a little odd over here for now, but eventually there's going to be buildings that curve around this way, and something that I also just did not do last episode is give people a way up to the ship. So I'm going to put a ladder maybe right here to get up. I think having 2 ladders on the ship honestly could look pretty cool. I wish the ladders didn't stand out so much. I wish it was like a spruce wood, but I think that'll be fine. People have also mentioned how dark my builds are, so I added some lanterns and other details to the starter area. Now I'm on a trip leaving the island to the coral reef to start collecting materials for the main build today. Initially, I was just collecting the dead brain coral, as I thought its texture fits best with cobblestone and tuff, but after some thought, I just decided to murder every piece of coral that I came across, before heading back over to the main island to start collecting the bulk of the materials, which started with the collection of a ton of cobblestone, where after a bit of collecting that, I headed deeper into the caves to collect even more deep slate, which I was going to use as a shadow block for these custom cliffs. And I can't do any level of terraforming or building in this game without, of course, collecting up a ton of tuff as well. And I even got some diamonds. Over time as well, I made sure to collect light gray wool from the sheep pen to slowly stock up, as I was going to need a ton. And finally, I went back into the mines again to collect andesite, which also happens to be one of my favorite terraforming blocks. And that puts me in the storage room, where I have a lot of materials gathered up. But there is one material that I'm going to need a ton of, and that is moss. And right now I don't have enough bone meal to manually collect that. So what I want to do is make a moss farm, and for that I'm going to need a ton of iron, and sadly I have this much iron. The point of today's episode is an iron farm, and right now I desperately need iron. For this moss farm I need redstone, which requires iron, which requires me to go down to the caves and fight skeletons. There's also a geode over here that I didn't know existed until now, so that could be very useful to me. I've just found another geode. It's a very small geode though. That puts me up to just over 2.5 stacks, and I think that's going to be pretty good. I do want to explore this cave a little bit more though. Then there's another geode. What is happening? I don't know why I just killed that bat. All right, I think this is a good time to get up. Exiting the cave now, I have just over 3 stacks of iron, and I can start smelting this up. Earlier in the caves, I got incredibly lucky with a slime spawn and collected slime balls, which I need for sticky pistons. I need 33 pistons in total, and 18 of these need to be sticky pistons, which for some reason the slime ball has to be on top of it. Okay. With the pistons out of the way, I started crafting down the rest of the redstone materials to get the moss farm working. For how overpowered the farm is, there's really not a lot to craft down, which means I can get right into building this moss farm, which is a design by Basic Redstone, and it works really, really well. With the moss farm built up, there's just one thing I need to do, and that is fill up this dispenser with bone meal. We'll see if this works. First try, please. And it seems to be working. There's something so beautiful about starting a farm and having it work. And this will give me all of the moss I'll ever need in this world. With most of the materials already gathered for this build, I just needed to take one last trip to the nether to collect both basalt and blackstone. I didn't mind going back to the nether too much, as I also needed to mend my tools once again anyways. With the material gathering done, it's time to start transforming this side of the island. And I have some pretty big plans. The plans are pretty big, but I have to start from somewhere, which is on the ocean side, as I'm using the mix of coral, cobblestones, andesite, and wool for highlights and deep slate and tuff for shadows. Unless you're living under the rocks I'm placing down, I'm sure you know by now everyone uses light matica to transfer their big projects over to the survival worlds, which is a massive help with a project like this, as I'm using so many different types of blocks to get the texture I'm going for. Not only that, but the actual time it takes to go back and forth filling up my inventory with blocks and also placing them even without light matica takes forever. This portion of the cliffside still took me 30 minutes though, and it's looking very good. About 30 minutes of building later, and I have this much built up. I also downloaded a mod that extends the render distance up to like 300 or more. So you can see a lot more in the distance, which is mostly ocean. But I stop now because I forgot a block in the material list, and that is grass blocks. So I'm jumping on down here to fill in that tiny little space with some grass blocks. But I'm actually going to need a lot more grass than that, because I'm going to be filling up the entire top of the cliff with grass. I figured the best place to collect grass would be over here on the other island. I'll be honest about one thing. I really like the leaf litter block, but also it's filling up half of my inventory. You know, it's a little bit of a problem here when I'm trying to collect some grass. Leaf litter is a problem, but I also just completely forgot that I could just leave the forest and go to the plains biome, which is exactly what I did. All of that grass will be used to cover up this space right here. So let me just start placing some of this grass down right here to connect it to the already existing terrain, just like that. And later on I can bone meal this, but for now I'm just going to keep focusing on these cliffs. These cliffs are coming together really nicely so far, as I'm working on expanding the cliffs upwards. At this point I'm already well over 50 blocks high, and there's still a lot left to do. There's also a lot for you guys to do, like liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as that really does help the channel out a ton. If you want to help my subscriber count reach the height of these cliffs, that's totally up to you though. I have ran out of andesite, but I've also ran out of sunlight, which means mobs are going to start spawning. And one thing people have been saying about my builds is how dark they are, like I said earlier in this video. So instead of making that a problem later, let me fix the problem now while it's not a detriment to my life. And the best thing to use for a situation like this is glow lichen. And why am I looking at me like, what is this angle? Now, I really don't have much glow lichen on me at all, so I'm gonna have to go into a cave and maybe make a simple glow lichen farm for now. We'll see if there's any glow lichen down here. There should be some. Perfect. There's just one. Honestly, all I need is one. For this farm, I'm going to need 4 dispensers, 2 observers, and a couple repeaters. And it's thunderstorming. We all know what a thunderstorm means. It means time to add on to the charged creeper collection that I'm making. Is there a reason why I'm doing this? No, not really. I just think it's kind of fun. And there's more creepers over there. Perfect. We all know what this means. It's much easier if you're trying to do this in your own world. It's much easier to get them all in one space and boom. There's no way. Well, we're gonna pretend like that didn't happen. I'm just gonna pick up my stuff and just get on my way with the rest of this video and the rest of this series. I don't really, you know what? I don't care. Plowing ahead, I'm just gonna make this glow lichen farm and prevent me from dying. Only problem is I do not have bone meal, so I need to go get some bones. I have 6 bone meal on me total. I just went ahead and stole some from the moss farm right next door, and I ran the glow lichen farm for a little bit, but not for long, as I really didn't have enough bone meal. Luckily, this was enough to cover up most of the cliff so far and prevent any charged creeper spawns. Well, it seems we have somebody who's trying to end the hardcore world. There's 2 of them. This guy's a shell and a trident. Oh my god, I'm getting attacked. Oh my god! If that isn't the most terrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. I think if I sleep, the demons will go away. Please. After fighting many a demon, I tried to escape them by reaching new world heights, building up the cliffs even more, where right now I'm extending some grass on top of the cliffs to the cliffs I already made and creating a big rock at the top to give it some extra height, as I didn't want the top to be completely flat. I think I did a good job, as this new addition makes these cliffs incredibly tall, where now I'm starting on the right side to connect it to the far end of the island. I have ran out of the fire coral and am running low on plenty of other resources as well, and a wandering trader spawned, and he has horn coral. I don't need that, and honestly, I actually kind of do need some jungle saplings. Sadly, I don't have any more emeralds. I would like to get some jungle saplings though, because I don't feel like leaving the island anymore. So what I'm going to do is actually trade with this guy and get those saplings. I haven't shown this in the video yet, I didn't mention it, but 2 of my villagers have passed away, and I'm stuck with just 3 of them. Not even going to explain how that happened. I don't have enough paper to get any jungle saplings. Well, I've traded enough to get exactly 1 sapling, so that's fine, I guess. Oh my god, another one spawned up there. What the heck? That is crazy. I don't even know how I noticed that. Let me take this jungle sapling you have, though. And now I have a friend up there to visit. Hopefully he doesn't jump off or anything. Let me give this guy a little visit. He has... How did he make it up here? I can't even get up there. Cherry saplings, which could be pretty useful to me, honestly. I would kind of like to get that. And maybe if I trade with one of the farmer villagers that I have, I can get some more emeralds. And this guy does have the carrot trait at a discount that gives me 3 emeralds. So I have 6 now. Just gotta take a long elevator trip up to the top of the cliff. Did some more parkour to get up here, and I'm just gonna trade with this guy, get a cherry sapling. Perfect. Bye-bye. No. 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 Oh, it's a massacre. I actually almost hit that and died. Oh no, the leather that dropped. Oh god. With the distraction literally behind me, I went back to the coral reef to collect more coral, mainly the fire and horn coral. I haven't explained how painful it is to collect coral, as I don't have respiration, so I have to use spruce doors that I crafted to constantly go back for air. So slowly destroying the ocean could definitely be more efficient. I also needed more cobblestone, so I dug into the island and made myself a hole, which serves as a way to hide from creepers as well. I started building up the cliff skin, this time building up more of the inside, as I wanted to create a small cave or cove to eventually make into maybe a treasure island type thing underneath, where I'm still building up the right side, again adding in some heavy texturing, with shadows using deep slate and light gray wool and concrete powder for the highlights, while also creating tiny spaces of greenery, occasionally using the moss. Where now I have the cliffs mostly done and extended all the way up to what I've already built on the left side. And now I'm going to start flattening the top with some grass. Before I finish placing grass up there, I want to light up down here so I don't die. Again, I can use this mod to show me what parts of this area are spawnable or not. So an area like this is going to need a piece of glowstone. I'm mostly worried about on top of this little cave right here having an incredible amount of spawnable blocks. Wouldn't want the world to end or anything. So I think for the most part it's looking pretty good over here. So for now, I'm hoping that that should be okay. And now what I'm going to need up at the top to fill the rest of the area in up here is a lot of moss and grass. Of course, I collected up a ton of grass earlier, and I have the moss farm over here, which is pretty full, and I can just fill up the rest of my inventory with that moss. Now I've put the moss and grass up here. It's very flat, but I plan on putting a castle or fortress up here eventually, so that's kind of why I'm not really going to worry about it too much. And considering I only have half of this done, there's still going to be a lot more space up here to do whatever I want. Taking a step back to look at what I've done so far, the shading and texturing on the cliffs look amazing, but there's still that one detail that I've yet to build. I'm sure this is the reason why you click on the video, you can't lie to me. With the final detail of the build being the skull, I started working on the underside a bit more, getting started on the shape of the jaw and mouth area, creating teeth, and getting the basic shape of the lower half done, and working up towards the middle where I wanted to add a tiny bit of variety from the cliffs by adding in some clay and diorite to give it a lighter texture, where now I'm onto the nose and rounding at the head, carving some eyeballs, and finally the skull is just about finished. With the skull done, I wanted to soften the look of the moss and grass using some short grass, and I had an idea of adding some birds using some birch slabs and trapdoors. And I'll be honest, this does look pretty insane from this angle. It looks pretty insane. Now, I also brought up some torches to mob-proof it. Okay. I'm okay with dying, but a creeper blowing up my build would actually bother me so much, I would probably just quit doing YouTube. Sadly, I don't think there's a way for me to get over there, but for some reason, that torch actually lights up most of that area. Kind of insane. But I'm up here now, and I want to sprinkle around some of the short grass up here to blend the mossy parts and the grass parts better into the environment to make it look a little bit less flat up here. I've also added in some azalea leaves over here on the side with some occasional moss with some grass too to make it look a little bit more fuzzy here on the side to make it look like maybe there's some overgrowth also on the actual skull part itself. And again, just to make this look a little bit better, I can use the rest of the grass that I have, which is not much, to blend it better into the environment. And I could probably get a little bit more grass as well. But this build is looking so good right now. I just need to cover up that piece of moss. I don't really care too much about the scaffolding. And let me jump on down here to get a better look at it. And of course, I can't do anything in the ocean without a guy with a trident throwing it at me. Very persistent though. And this build is looking so cool. I think the best angle of it is further out here though. And yeah, that looks awesome. I think if there was a little bit more darkness in the eyeballs, it would look 10 times better, I think. But I'm going to leave it for now just like that, because eventually this area will be entirely closed, and there won't be any skylight behind the eyeballs. But other than that, like, this is looking super cool right now. Now, the main reason for this build is an iron farm, so let me get started on doing that. Now, I will be honest, I don't have any plans of doing anything super fancy with an iron farm just yet. So for now, there was just going to be like a floating iron farm up there. So again, it's time to craft down a few redstone materials to make the iron farm. Now, of course, the last thing I need is 3 villagers, and I need a few beds as well. So I'm going to grab them right now. I also need 1 bucket of lava. I've built up this iron farm many times. It's kind of just the one that I default to. But right now, I need to... Well, first I'm going to place some beds in here. These are going to be pretty difficult to get in once the villagers are in. So I'm going to put these in here for now. So right now, I need to focus on getting the zombie and the villagers up here. I'm thinking the easiest way to do this would be to get a zombie up here first. But I actually do need to find a zombie. So with it turning night, this is obviously a good time to find one. I also think an easy way to do this might honestly be to get a lead and make a boat. This might sound like a ridiculous idea, but it might work better than expected. Who knows? We'll give it a try. Let me make a boat. Now I just need to find a zombie somewhere, and it doesn't seem like there's any spawning. Of course, when I need zombies to spawn, they don't spawn. This is perfect. I have a zombie that spawned over here. He has a helmet. That means he won't burn, and he also has a gunpowder, which means he won't despawn. So this is actually looking pretty perfect right now. Let me put him in a boat and let me try this. If I lead him and let me just go up with some cobblestone. I just need to get him over to this side. I'm really trying to make this work. This would be amazing if it does. This is when I need a happy gas, to be honest. A happy gas would make this so much easier. But I'm thinking with the way that this is going, I might honestly not need one. Because look, I got him right over where he needs to be now. So now if I jump down, I'm hoping he doesn't take any damage. If he does and dies, I'm actually going to be so upset. He doesn't. That is perfect. If I just prepare this area a little bit more. So now if I break this boat, I'm hoping this will work. Let's go. That is actually amazing that that worked. It looks extremely ugly over here with this cobblestone, but it was worth it, to be honest. That was not stressful at all. Somehow this guy climbed up and got out. I really don't know how. I didn't think they could go over rails. This will be the first contestant. We'll see if this works with this guy. Okay, we're going to give this another try and see if it works. This is actually unbelievable that this is going to work. This is actually unbelievable. Just need him to scoot on in there. Going to keep him in the boat for now, but I'm going to have to unlead him. I got one of them down, though. It's time to get two more. Now I just need to get these two fellas in their own boat as well. Got him in the drop zone. And to prevent these guys from doing anything fancy or dangerous, I'm going to block that off for now and break the boat there and the bamboo raft there where I only see two villagers. Oh, he's in bed. Okay. Thank God. Honestly, rolling back the clip, I have no idea where that villager even came from. I'm assuming he was just, for some reason, invisible in the bed, but he was definitely not in the bed when I looked over. I don't know where he came from. Now I just need a way to get out of here. Oh, I'm so smart. I'm such an intelligent person. I'm so good at this game. In one space, and boom. The final step is to place in this redstone torch. But this farm should be up and running now. And if I just make my way up here, the iron farm is working incredibly well as we have over 2 stacks of iron in just this little bit of time with it running. With the cliffs and iron farm done, the final detail I wanted to add was the birds I was talking about using the birch wood and a bit more of the short grass around the entire cliffside. Yeah, this build looks absolutely amazing. I think this is one of the coolest things I've built in this game. And honestly, I think the birds flying out of the eyeball right there give it a very, much needed touch. It makes this build much more interesting, and I think it's looking so good right now. This is the end of the episode, though. If you guys want me to continue the series, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and definitely let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you're excited for a new hardcore series, maybe I'll just do that instead. Just let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that ends up being. Bye. I gotta learn how to do outros. Ooh, look, a shipwreck. I wonder if I explored this one. I think I must have explored this one. I didn't. I have a buried treasure map in here. And some moss blocks. And some pumpkins. Ooh, I actually need pumpkins. What? That's actually kind of interesting. And since I know this buried treasure map isn't going to actually have treasure in it, I can just use it to look at what the skull looks like on the map. Not that it's really going to show up on the map. It just looks like a big blob. It actually still looks pretty cool, but it's underwhelming.